Welcome back to my channel today. We are diving into the dark truth about Japan's Unit 731. Some crimes are too horrific to imagine. Some were hidden for decades. This is one of them. You've heard of Auschwitz. You've heard of Nazi medical experiments. But what if I told you there was another operation, just as cruel, just as calculated, but few people talk about it? A place where vivisections were performed without anesthesia, where plague bombs were dropped on civilians, and where children were used as test subjects. In 1931, Japan invaded Manchuria and set up a puppet state called Manchukuo. With full control of the region, Japan saw an opportunity, a chance to test biological weapons, something outlawed under international law. In 1932, under the command of Lieutenant General Shiro Ishii, the Japanese Imperial Army founded Unit 731. Officially, it was called the Epidemic Prevention and Water Purification Department. But inside, it was a human experimentation facility, one of the most gruesome in history. The victims were mostly Chinese civilians, but also Russians, Koreans, and even Allied POWs. They were referred to as Maruda, meaning logs, dehumanized from the start. Here's what they endured: vivisections, cutting open living people to study organ function without anesthesia; frostbite testing, limbs frozen solid, then thawed to study tissue death; disease injection, victims were injected with anthrax, bubonic plague, cholera, and more; rape and pregnancy tests, women were impregnated by force and then dissected to observe fetal development; weapon testing, flamethrowers, grenades, and chemical weapons were tested directly on prisoners. One former Unit 731 worker admitted, "We were told these people were going to die anyway, so we might as well use them." The experiments weren't confined to the lab. Unit 731 conducted field tests by unleashing biological weapons on actual cities. Fleas infected with bubonic plague were dropped from planes over Chinese towns. Wells were poisoned with cholera and typhoid. The death toll? It's estimated that 200,000 to 500,000 civilians died due to these biological attacks. When World War II ended in 1945, the world began uncovering Nazi atrocities. But Unit 731 was never prosecuted at the Tokyo war crimes trials. Why? Because the U.S. secretly granted immunity to Unit 731's doctors and scientists in exchange for their data. America didn't want the Soviets to get it. So they made a deal with the devil. Shiro Ishii, the mastermind, was never punished. He lived peacefully in Japan, even working as a public health advisor. For decades, the Japanese government denied Unit 731's existence. The victims were silenced, the records buried. It wasn't until the 1980s and 90s that some Japanese scholars, whistleblowers, and journalists started revealing the truth. Survivors began to speak. Some former doctors admitted what they had done. But even today, no formal apology has ever been issued by the Japanese government. Unit 731 remains one of the least known but most horrific war crimes in history. The fact that it was ignored, covered up, and exploited by major world powers should haunt us all. These weren't just experiments. They were systematic crimes against humanity, done in the name of science and empire, and the world let it slide. History demands that we remember, not just for justice, but so it never happens again. If this story shocked you, if you'd never heard of Unit 731 before today, share this video. The victims were forgotten for too long. Don't let history be erased. Subscribe for more untold stories the world needs to hear. Like, comment, share, and never stop questioning what lies beneath the surface of history.